What is going on, everyone? Thanks for stopping by. So today we're gonna do a review on the Corbeau Trailcat seats. I've had them now. I just checked the receipt earlier today. I've had them now for exactly almost 12 months and like 11 months and like 23 days or something like that. So I've had enough time of long drives, dailying. So I'll give you an idea of what they're like using every day and then what they're like on long drives. I also wanted to go over basically 3 different steps that I wanted to go through, and that was the install process, um, what I like about them, and what I don't like. I didn't film the install because really it's like 4 bolts and it's super easy. So I was like, I'm not even going to waste my time putting this on video. They're really easy to install. There's a couple things if you do. There's a couple options that we'll get into, so it might make things a little bit more difficult. But there's definitely a couple things that I feel like Corbeau could have done maybe just a little bit differently. Some of them might be my pet peeves, but I think it would make them so much better if they did. So let's get into that right now. Let's go into the install first. All right, so right here you can see that I'm running the Corbeau seat slider itself. So basically, you're gonna buy the seat, and then you're going to buy their slider. Essentially, the slider just mounts specific for the truck, so it's pretty easy. You see here, I'm still running the Desert Does It seat jackers, so still use them back. I like that little bit of lean up, which, you know, is fine for me. I like it. And then just coming this way, still running the multi-mount panel. Coming over here, I ordered mine with the lumbar, so you're going to get like an inflatable pouch here for the lumbar. It just kind of sits right there. So install's a breeze, you know, your 4 bolts right here and right here, there's really no issues. Now let me come over here. I did the heated seats, right? Which, by the way, let me tell you, like, running through the mountains in North Carolina, windows down, it's probably like in the 50s, 40s, no heat on and the heated seats on, it was money. I think it's worth it. Do it. So here's how I wired mine. You have a couple options when it comes to heated seats. You can buy the buttons that look like the kind of Toyota-ish ones, or you can get these little roundy ones. I like these better because they're just easier to install. You see I got one over there and one over here that handles the heated seats. They come already wired up from Corbeau and built into the seat, so all you're really doing is connecting the wiring and running it to power. All pretty simple. If you do anything with vehicles, you should be able to do that pretty easy. The only thing I would recommend is wire it to ignition on. Do not wire it to an always on power source. You don't want to forget that you have it on and leave them on in the car with the seats off. They could potentially get really hot, and you just don't want to risk that. So wire it to ignition power only, okay? And then the next thing I wanted to bring up, if you decide to rock them how I'm using them and you're putting them into here on each side, drill it either a little lower or a little higher, but make sure to check back here, because right where I drilled it, there is a metal bracket back in here. It's like a metal support bracket. It caused me to have a pain in the ass drilling it with like the hole saw. So just understand that. That should pretty much cover like the install. There really isn't much to cover on here. Pretty easy, pretty simple, no major issues. Let's talk about what I like about them. 2 quick things I want to get into before we go over what I like. It kind of has to do with the install. Another reason why I didn't choose the small Toyota switches, which I generally love, like my whole truck is wired with them, is that I was going to lose 2 spots with those switches. So another good reason why we want to use those little round ones is they fit in that spot perfectly and they don't take up any spaces that you potentially might need for something later on. So didn't want to do that. Something else to consider when you buy these, really any aftermarket seats, you're going to run into issues with communication with the airbag system, right? So your SRS system and your SRS light is going to be on. I tried several of the different bypasses and some of the diodes, like nothing really worked for me. So I just said, forget it. And I got a little pasty black piece above the light in the dash, so I don't see it. For the seatbelt light is on. However, the plug still works. You're still plugging the seatbelt side. So if you run without the belt, you're still going to get the chime. As soon as you plug your seatbelt in, no more chime. So both of those lights are covered up. You will have to deal with that. There's some other YouTubers out there that said that they use these bypasses and it worked. I tried them, didn't work for me. So keep that in mind. It's real big on keeping everything stock. you might want to take it to a spot that knows way better. You know, I'm not a race car guy. A lot of like the racers, they're going to change seats out, so they might be able to figure this out. I didn't, and I was already dealing with a bunch of electrical stuff, so I was like, I'm done. I'm fine with it with the sticky. So just know it doesn't bother me. It could potentially bother you. Like, to get into what I like, right off the bat, they feel 100 times better than the stock seats. Like, you don't realize how terrible the stock seats are till you sit on another set of seats. And these are like more my style. They're a little firm, but also soft, which is kind of hard to explain to people. I usually just tell them when they ask me questions, just go sit on it. You'll understand what I'm talking about. Like, it's firm and soft. Like, my butt and my legs kind of fit into it. My back kind of sits into it, but it kind of stops. It's not just like a huge plush pillow, but the foam, it feels good. It feels supportive is what I would say, which is what I didn't get from, you know, the stock seats. Another thing that I love about the Trailcat specific seats is that the bolsters on the lower side, like the leg bolsters, are real low, like just normal. And my God, on long drives, when you want to open and spread your legs out, it's amazing because, dude, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, so I've had seats with really high bolsters before, and you're on these long drives and you're smashing your nuts together. Ew, it's so nice to be able to open your legs. So it's like a perfect combination for long driving and like just daily, because you have the room in the lower regions where you want it, but then you have a little bit more snug up in the back and your shoulders where you want it. So it's perfect. So if you're on the trails, you take like a big whoop and you drop to like 30 degrees, like the bolsters, they're going to stop you. Whereas on the stock seats, you're just like flying over there into the passenger side. So it's kind of nice. It's like the best of both worlds for daily and for long distance driving. Like, the material I like, it's like a woven vinyl, so no real complaints there. Like, if it was leather, I wouldn't care. I mean, they're decent seats. They're not like Recaros or that German brand, what is it, Schliemann maybe. Those are badass. If you've never looked at those, look at those. Price point was right, the way they fit is right. It's a huge upgrade over stock, so I mean, I think they're worth every penny. Long drives, short drives, you can move your legs, but you still feel like you're, you know, in place, still good. I mean, overall, I would say they're badass. Like, what I don't like about them isn't enough to make me unhappy that I purchased them. I'll get into exactly what I don't like. One's a pet peeve, right? So I don't know how about you guys, like, but I like driving. Like, remember back in the day, in your old truck, in your bench seat, and you want to put your arm around your girl? Like, sometimes on long drives, I like to put my arm behind the headrest over here. But because of how high the bolster is that I like, so it's hard to get the arm over here. Like, I really got to get over sometimes to get the arm over here, and that's kind of annoying. Or I have to move the seat forward so I can get my arm over here better, which I don't like that either. I have this thing where like the seats need to be even. I'm weird. So I don't like that, how to put my arm up here. And then two things that I think Corbeau could have done a little bit better, that I don't like, is sometimes when you're driving and you hit potholes and bumps, like, this moves way too much, I think, for me. Like, I feel like it should be locked in way better. Like, that little bit shouldn't be moving, but that's just my opinion. Again, not super expensive seats, but they're still pricey. I don't like that right there. I think that shouldn't happen. And then I never would have thought, maybe because I'm old as shit now, but like the not having pockets in the back of the seats, like I miss that. I miss being able to shove things in here that I need, or behind my driver. Let me put you back there into the driver real quick. So back here, I always had this inside of the pocket back here because it's always right where I need it. But now, you know, I had to buy this, I mean, whatever, these little cable tie things, and you just wrap it around here and it holds it just fine. But I definitely like, see that pouch back there too. You can make them work. It's not a huge deal, but man, did I miss having those pockets. I would just hide stuff down there that I needed, you know? I mean, I would say, so that should pretty much cover install wise what I like and what I don't like. Obviously, what I don't like is kind of small and maybe somewhat personal for me. But I definitely think if it had pockets and didn't have the shake, it would almost be like an all-around perfect seat for the price. It's close right now, because of the way it feels and the way it sits and the way it just makes the truck look a little bit better too. It's a little fancier, you know. But if you have any questions for me, make sure to drop them down below. If you know how to bypass the SRS lights pretty good, let me know. If you use something that worked for you, definitely tell me in the comments, because I want to give it a shot and see if it'll work, and that way I can let everybody know, hey, this worked or it didn't work for me. You guys be good, stay safe out there. Just let me know if you have any questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because it helps me out a little. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.